Hi, I got your plan open in my copy of Pro 2018. It looks like to me you've roughly got it roughly correct in terms of the relationship between this floor and this and the main floor and then the garage. You didn't say what trouble you were having, so I'm a little in the dark as to what the problem is. What I noticed, let me go back to that. Yeah, where's, need to find the garage. Okay, there's the garage. Okay. I think this is the front of the house. See, I'm not completely sure. You're more familiar with your house than I am. That seems to be the garage. This gable is missing. That's not a gable. That's not a gable in the model. That's the first thing I'm going to address. And it's really easy in Pro or in any home designer software, excuse me. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the front door. No, there's no front door here. That seems to be a deck. Let me take a look at that again. No, there's no deck back there. That looks like a deck. Oh, it's an interior room. Never mind. Okay. Let me orient myself again. Okay, there's a garage. Okay. So I'm guessing this is the front of the house. I'm guessing. Now, in order to get a gable here, I would take the wall break tool, left click, and break off right there so that I can program this wall differently from the rest of this section of wall. So open the dialog box. I'm going to go to the Roof tab and tell the software that I want a full gable over that wall. And Auto Rebuild Roofs is on, so it's automatically carried out my order. See, there's that. I'm sure this is not perfect, but maybe your model's not perfect. I'm not going to worry about that. Let me take a look at your picture again. And you've got a covered porch up here in the front that you didn't bother to draw in. Sorry about that. Go back to plan here, and I don't see a front door, so I'm a little mystified as to, in the picture there's a front door right there. And there's some windows, so you didn't put in the windows, and so I don't have orientation points to make sure I'm looking at this in the model correctly. You need to keep, I mean, you're very familiar with your house and your project, and everybody else in the world is not. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. I think this, okay, this is supposed to be a gable over here. So same thing. Let's open this wall and reprogram it so that it knows it's supposed to have a gable wall. I mean, a gable roof over that wall. That should take care of that. Yeah, so now we have a gable here and a gable here. And you have to have the front porch drawn in order for me to know where the gable goes. At a guess, I don't think your front door would come into the dining room. Your front door must be over in here someplace. Well, that's about all I can suggest right now is you can get, and if this is a gable, of course I don't have a picture to know that, but normally if that's a gable and that's a gable, this is probably a gable. And see, I can't program, I don't want to program all the way over to here. So again, I'm going to use the wall break tool, break it off right there, that wall, and then tell this section of the wall, go to the roof tab, full gable wall. And by the way, this is explained. Okay, now I have a gable here, here, and here. We probably need a gable here and maybe here too. I have no idea. Let's just try that and see what happens. I mean, only you know if that's true or correct for your house. Now, see, it did the gable here, but not here because I didn't tell this one to change. See, that's what it did. Now we'll do the other one, this little wall here. I'm just guessing. And we'll see what that did. It's not going to be perfect because the software is just a mechanical device. It doesn't know, it's never seen your house. It doesn't know what it looks like. And so you have to tell it. These are probably wrong also, I would assume. Let me turn off auto rebuild roofs. I'll just diddle around with it a little bit. We'll turn that off. I'm going to take this roof plane and delete it. Oops, I didn't mean to open it. I'm going to delete that. And we'll click on the other one. I don't think those belong there. I wouldn't build a house like that. And then this edge, using the Join Roofs tool, left click and then click where I want it to join. That's probably how it's configured. Now this one, since it's got an extra little break right here, the Join Roofs tool doesn't work when you command the software to join two lines, this edge and this edge, to this one, and watch what happens. I get an error message. Well, okay, it tried. The software tried, but it didn't quite, wasn't successful. So I'm going to drag this up here and fix the geometry of that roof. Then I can, complete this with the Join Roofs tool. That's probably how your house is actually built. Designed many custom homes and remodeling jobs, and also this here is something that the software did automatically, and I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to delete this roof plane, reconfigure this one. I'm just going to reshape it, make it a little bit simpler geometric shape, getting rid of this little line here. And then I'm going to join this edge, join roof planes to that edge, like that. And then I'm going to wrap this big roof plane here using the break line tool. We'll put a break right there. And I hit the break line tool again, left click where I want to break in the line. And I'll get it close. The software is pretty good about figuring out 3D geometry, so I'm going to join the roof planes there. Okay. Now, it didn't do a perfect job because the software doesn't do a perfect job. You have to do the work. So like this edge here, I'm going to fix it manually, and this edge right here, see, there's just an extra jog there that doesn't really belong. So I'm going to click on that and try to simplify the geometry of this roof plane so I can. I'm going to go to plan view and see if I can straighten that out. Where is that? Over here, I think. No, that's not it. Must be the other end. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that should go something like that. And this flattens out, I think. This, again, simplify the geometry of the roof plane. Then take a look in an overview camera, see how that's going along. Now I'm going to reattach the ridge of that roof to the other side, see if I can clean that up. Didn't move. So all that means is there's something else that I have to do. Let me take a look at it. Okay, see right here. That's why. Well, I'll try to zoom in. I'll do it out here. Again, I'm just going to simplify the geometry of that roof plane and get rid of these extra line entities. and then try again with the join roofs tool. Not working. Let's try it in plan view. Sometimes plan view works a little bit better. Okay, that cleaned that up. And now I'm going to take this edge and snap it to match the other edge. And that just leaves this little part right here. That little triangle doesn't belong there. You find that triangle. I don't see it. Let's see. No, I don't see it. Well, I'll just do it here. Again, since I don't have a picture of this part of your house, I'm just going to do this and call it a job. We'll just straighten that off. Maybe it's like that, maybe it isn't. Who knows? You know, I don't know. And so I don't know what else, in terms of the roofs, might be wrong. It would help if I knew where the porch was, then I could put that gable in there. But you would draw the porch in terms of its actual dimensions, and then draw the roofs over it. Now, once I've done a lot of manual editing on these roofs, I'm not going to use auto rebuild roofs again, because that would mess up everything I just did. So you're going to have to learn how to manually edit roofs. The only other thing I can think to look at is cross section through the garage and the bedroom above the garage. Yeah. See, here's the garage. Here's the room above the garage. This dimension from this floor to this floor needs to be correct, and I have no idea what that's supposed to be. And as long as that's correct, then everything else ought to be correct. The thing that most new users do when they start using this software is that they should do is to go to Edit, Default Settings, and ideally this is before you've drawn all of this stuff here, and set all of these defaults, like the current floor. Click on Edit, and you've got the ceiling set to the finished ceiling set to 94.5 inches. If that's true, then everything in the model will be useful. If this is not true, everything's inaccurate. See, you've got 96 for the roof ceiling, but the roof ceiling is not what you see when you walk into your living room. The finished floor is F here. See, F. That's from the finished floor to the finished ceiling. If you were to get a measuring tape and measure from the finished floor to the finished ceiling, this ought to be 96, not this. This E is measuring from the structural floor with no flooring on it to the structural ceiling with no sheetrock on it. Anyway, if you're going to do a lot of cabinets and you want to set your cabinet defaults, if you're going to do a lot of text, you want to set your text defaults. And looks like you've drawn your house with 6-inch walls. Let's just check that. I'm going to open that dialog box, go to wall types. And yeah, you've got a 6-inch wall. That's rather unusual to have such a thick wall. And maybe you didn't study the software and didn't find out what to do. You haven't read your user's guide yet, and so forth. So all of these exterior walls are probably incorrect. They're probably not siding 6. They're probably siding 4. But again, that's something you would know had you ever studied the software. Now I'm going to go back to Edit Default Set. I'm not beating up on you. It's just things you need to know. Materials. You set your material default. What is the actual? I mean, I saw this picture of your house. It's got stone over here, and that looks like brick, and then vertical siding, and then horizontal siding. And you work all of that out in these defaults. Now, you set the majority of the materials here. Let's find walls exterior. See, that's what you have because this is the out-of-the-box default, so that's what you have. And you have to change that here and also under walls, exterior wall. And here's the default setting for the wall. And that determines the side, what kind of siding and how thick the framing is and so forth. Anyway, I'm not going to teach you a seminar here. I just thought I'd point out a few things that were obvious just looking at your model and give you a little bit of fatherly advice. Hopefully this looks more like your house now. Now, that probably doesn't belong there. But again, I can't tell just from the one photograph you supplied what it's actually supposed to look like. Maybe I can. Now, I can't quite see if this ridge, it looks like this ridge is lower than this. So you may have the pitches on this roof here set too steep. I have no way of knowing. This looks like 512, and that looks like 512, but I can't really tell what the pitch is of these roofs here. It's things like that that determine the outcome of your model, and it's hours and hours of your work, and you're better served if you do it after having studied and practiced with the software on simple test models than trying to draw your whole house and guessing as to what you should do the whole way. It's a big waste of time. Okay, well, I hope this has helped you in some way, and thanks for watching. I'm out of here.